Hey everybody. I want to talk about being a vegetarian. Hopefully this is a short video because I am using my filter and I only get 10 minutes doing it. So here is what inspired it. I was on TikTok playing around, and a lady who's on my friends list, she popped up and she mentioned that she was making vegan ribs and barbecue ribs. And my first thought was the Garden Burger vegan ribs that I used to love, as well as okay, Garden Burger, I think, got bought out by Kellogg's a long time ago. And then Kellogg's owns Morningstar Farms, and Morningstar Farms ended up with the exact same ribs. At least they tasted the exact same. It's so many vegetarian foods I miss so much. I am no longer vegetarian at all. But I do still love vegetables, of course, and fruit. And there's a lot of vegetarian foods that I really miss because I was a vegetarian for 11, going on 12 years, nearly 12 years. Well, it would have been 12 years if I had kept it up through the end of 2018. Here's my story. Sometimes when I tell someone who, especially they're still vegetarian, when I tell them that I'm not vegetarian anymore, like I just actually had that conversation with someone close to me who's a pescatarian, and she used to call herself a vegetarian, but no, she eats fish. She's a pescatarian. But anyhow, we had that conversation, and this might be a two-part video. Anyway, but I had told her that what made me choose to go back to meat was my desire to have weight loss surgery. So back in 2018, before I knew I was having a little bambina, okay, I didn't know I was pregnant. I'm laying in bed and I'm touching my tummy. It was in my ex's bed, and anyway, no, but I'm touching my tummy. He was doing something else. I don't know what he was doing, but anyway, I'm just laying in his bed and I'm touching on my tummy, and I would kill to be that weight now. I was somewhere in the, I think, 260s or early 270s. Anyway, point is though, I was like disgusted with myself, and I'm like, I don't want to live like this anymore. I'm getting weight loss surgery, which was something I had resisted for a really long time. My mom had even offered to pay for it for me a long time ago. Then when I brought it up much later, she was like, what are you talking about? I never said that. I'm like, okay, girlfriend, do I have to carry a recorder with me everywhere? But anyway, no, all kidding aside. So, what happened? Yeah, so I had decided to get weight loss surgery, and one of the things that I knew I would have to do is go back to eating animal protein. Why? Because protein is very important when you have weight loss surgery. I'm not going to get into it, but you go look it up, and animal protein is complete protein. It's, again, go look into that too if you don't understand. I can't get into it, and plus I'm just not that well versed on it, but I've heard this so many times that I know these basic things, right? So on that note, I knew that like me being a vegetarian was going to be a roadblock with my weight loss surgery, so I decided to go back to eating meat. Now, what made me become a vegetarian in the first place was, this is crazy, but it was like an ethical thing where, well, not, this isn't crazy, but it was an ethical thing where I just thought to myself, because I've always been against animal cruelty, and I just thought to myself, like, how can I eat meat? And you know, these beings have spirits too, like they are thinking, feeling creatures too, so how can I sit up there and eat them? Well, obviously I feel differently now. I still think that of them. But I am, what is the term? I'm apathetic. Well, ooh, that sounds bad. But I mean, I'm not overly sympathetic the way that I used to be about it anymore, because then again, how could I eat meat? You know, that would make me kind of a psycho, wouldn't it? But no, what it is that I started to realize that that we literally live in a quote unquote dog eat dog world. That sounds terrible, but it's the truth. There is a food chain. Okay, there is. And, you know, there are animals, like I was mentioning this to the person in my life. I said, the pescatarian, I said, you know, I used to watch nature videos and think, oh my gosh, somebody save that antelope, that tiger's gonna get it, or whatever animal, that lion, you know, whomever. And I would think, how could they stand by and watch this terrible thing happen? And then I realized, I'm like, okay, so basically you're saying that the tiger should die too? Because sadly, if an animal is dependent upon meat to survive, then you're saying screw you to that animal. You know, I mean, if that makes any sense. And there are also animals that are herbivores that will kill you. I can't think of, I think hippopotamus, I like that. Where they don't eat meat, but they will kill you. Like, they're not playing with you. So, I mean, it's just interesting. But like, long story short, I believe that we are meant to eat meat. I mean, you can choose not to, and that's fine, but I do think we are meant to eat meat. I also think a lot of the health benefits from vegetarianism is somewhat exaggerated because there are definitely downfalls to being a vegetarian health wise. You know, one of the most common ones is anemia, which I definitely have that issue. And I think B12 deficiency. Oh yeah, B12 deficiency for sure, and so on. You know, vegans get on my fucking nerves. I'm just gonna say that. Even back when I was a vegetarian, there was a small period of time that I liked vegans, and then that went away pretty quickly, because they just take it to the nth degree. Like the whole, oh, I can't use beeswax, I can't use honey, I can't use things that you know, come from an animal, even if the animal is not harmed in the process. It makes sense if the animal is in any way, shape, or form harmed in the process, but if they are not, then how does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway, but that's why they get on my nerves. Bless their hearts, though. And if you're vegan, thanks for supporting me. I'm just saying that the ideology gets on my nerves, you know, with veganism. What else do I have to say? So, oh, and as far as like, one regret that I do have is that I went back to meat. I actually do wish, knowing what I know now, that I had stayed vegetarian, because I did not end up getting the weight loss surgery. And I think it would have been easier for me to control my weight, which I I kind of want to talk about that too. Damn, I guess I just don't have enough time to get into that in this one video. But I do feel like it helped me control my weight a bit better than eating meat, you know. But I was a fat vegetarian, and I did deal with discrimination as a fat vegetarian, which was funny. I mean, it wasn't funny, but it was funny. But anyway, so anything else I want to say? Oh yeah, what I said to the friend is that I feel like now I'm addicted to meat, so it would be very difficult for me to give meat up. But there are a handful of vegetarian products that if they came back to the market, I would definitely consider giving up meat again. So I think I'm going to do a part 2 video because I don't want this to cut me off in the midst of me talking. So stay tuned. Thanks. Bye.